But of course, the top focus remains that 7-phase election that's been announced this afternoon by the Election Commission. The general elections are here for 2019. The 7-phase poll starts on the 11th of April. This is the phase where you will have states like Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, the entire state going to the polls, both for general elections as well as for the state assembly polls. Other states going to the polls in this phase includes Chhattisgarh, Jammu and Kashmir, Maharashtra, which has a 4-phase election, and Manipur. Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Odisha, 20 states of the country will see polling on the 11th of April across 90 constituencies. Sikkim, Telangana, Tripura, and of course UP, Uttarakhand, West Bengal, Andaman and Nicobar, and Lakshadweep. Remember, Bengal, UP and Bihar will see polling in all the 7 phases. The second phase will be on the 18th of April, where Karnataka, Maharashtra, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, the entire state goes to the poll. Karnataka, surprisingly, goes over 2 phases. Odisha goes over 4 phases. So, question marks over how the EC has decided this entire run-up of polls. Then we come to the 23rd of April, where we have the 3rd phase of elections, and most of South India by now is covered. Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Gujarat. Narendra Modi's home state goes the entire state on that day. Kerala also in a single phase on that day. Goa 2 seats that day. Karnataka completes on that day. So essentially the south of India is over, south and a large part of the western part of this country over by the 23rd of April. We then come to the focus primarily on north and central India. Bihar, J&K, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh all going to the polls on the 29th. Madhya Pradesh over 3 different phases in this period. Maharashtra completes its polling. Rajasthan 2-phase poll. North India, a large part of North India is in the latter half, in the end April, early May. Now you could argue, does that give in a sense those parties which have a greater influence in North India more time to prepare for this election? The 5th phase is on the 6th of May. Again, it's Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, Anantnag itself is going to polls over 3 phases. That's the level of security concern in Kashmir at the moment. The 6th phase after that is on the 12th of May, where Bihar, Haryana, the entire state of Haryana goes to the polls. Madhya Pradesh continues its polling. Delhi, for those in the national capital, that's the date to look out for. Delhi goes to the polls on the 12th of May. And then we have the final phase, and that comes on the 19th of May. That is Bihar, Jharkhand, Punjab, West Bengal, and of course Uttar Pradesh, which carries on across the entire phase, along with Chandigarh. Himachal Pradesh, interestingly, goes at the very end of the polling. And then the big day is counting day on the 23rd. So it's a 6-week process which will decide the future of the next government in the national capital and indeed across the country. Let's then listen in for a moment to the Chief Election Commissioner explaining why the polling is going to go on for this period.
VVPATs will be used with EVM at all polling stations in this election. Adequate number of both have been made available for smooth conduct of elections. We would like to make it clear that photo voter slip issued at the last minute shall be used for guidance, but not as a proof of identity in the polling stations. We have already given a very detailed ad 2-3 days back that that slip will not be the proof of identity, but there are 11 other options which can be used to cast your vote, provided of course the name is on the electoral roll.
Okay, the big question, of course, we are starting the race today in a sense with the model code of conduct having come into force. Who's ahead in the big battle for 2019? Who will benefit from an extended 7-phase election? Does an elongated campaign suit Narendra Modi's campaign style? Are we going to see nail-biters in the battleground states, and are those 3 states going over 7 phases, West Bengal, Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, going to decide really who comes to power in Delhi? Just some of the questions we're going to be raising today. I'm joined from Lucknow by Juhi Singh, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. In Delhi, Narendra Taneja, spokesperson of the BJP. Kalikesh Singh Deo, Member of Parliament, Biju Janata Dal, Salman Soz, spokesperson of the Congress joining us, Shankar Iyer, senior journalist joining us, Ajit Jha, editor, Research India Today. We hope to be joined by more voices as we continue this evening. Let's just look at what has happened today. Narendra Taneja, from a BJP perspective, does this elongated poll process over 7 phases, with the north coming much later than the south, your bastions of the north coming much later, actually give you an advantage or not?
No, Rajdev, we don't have any control on this. That's decided by the Election Commission. That's a given for us and we have to live with it. Now the question is whether there's an advantage or not. We are prepared for the election even tomorrow morning across the country. So we are ready. We have done a good job. People have seen our work and we are very happy and satisfied with the work that we have done the last 5 years. And our feedback from the people is that they're happy with our work. And we are quite confident based on the feedback we are getting from the ground that this time we are going to do better than 2014, maybe touch 300 seats entirely on our own. But as far as this thing, whether it gives an advantage and all that, it's not really, it's for the election commission to answer your question straight. We are prepared to go to election even tomorrow morning.
You're claiming you will get as many as 300 seats in 2019, even more than what you got on your own in 2014.
300 seats.
That's right. You're claiming you will get 300 on your own. Let me, in a moment, play out a soundbite of the Prime Minister when he was on the campaign trail only yesterday and this morning, where he spoke again strongly on the issue of nationalism. And I just wonder, Salman Soz, whether the Prime Minister, in a sense, has now set the narrative post-Pulwama, post-Balakot. And you're going to have to respond at all times to what the Prime Minister says, rather than being able to carve out your own narrative. Is that the opposition's predicament now, that the Prime Minister is setting the agenda, he is doing all the running, you're going to have to play catch-up?
Are you going to play that, or are you asking me right now?
I'm asking you right now. We'll play that later. I'm asking you right now.
Yeah, you see, I think one of the best things, one of the best responses to this is it comes from the schedule of this this election. The people of the country should know the Prime Minister's failed leadership has brought us to this pass now that assembly elections in J&K cannot be held, even though parliamentary elections can be held in Jammu and Kashmir. This is the first time it's happened since 1996, when things were really, really bad. So this Prime Minister, under his watch, national security has become weaker, I think. He's actually failed on national security. He's failed in Jammu and Kashmir. He can try and wrap the flag around himself, but that will not work for him. I don't think that is the way elections are going to be conducted. There are so many issues that people are worried about, from jobs to farmers' distress, no investments, small and medium enterprises are in trouble. All the promises that this Prime Minister had made, all the high expectations that had been set, they've been belied. And on national security, I think Prime Minister has to respond to people on what has happened in Kashmir, where we did not have a bipole in Anantnag for 2 years. And now we're going to have an election in Anantnag constituency in 3 phases. What the hell is going on? How can he say that he's a strong and decisive Prime Minister when something like this has happened in Jammu and Kashmir? He should be ashamed. He should be ashamed. He cannot be rewarded for running such a failed government and failed on the issues of this nationalism. This is not nationalism. They're about communalism.
Rajdev, you have to give me 30 seconds to rebut.
Okay, they love their party more than they love the country. If they loved,
you have to give me 30 minutes to rebut.
If they love the country more than they love the party, then in Jammu and Kashmir the situation would not be where it is.
Okay, Salman Soz, you made your point.
To win an election, and they're going to lose.
Okay, Salman Soz, you made your point. Narendra Taneja, I'm going to put on the screen a poster that was only seen a few days ago, which was a BJP poster where Wing Commander Abhinandan was sharing space with the Prime Minister. Now, the Election Commission has come down hard on that, said that you cannot have the posters of soldiers on political posters. But my question to you, and there is the poster, is this going to become the theme, the narrative? According to
BJP.
Salman Soz, national security is not an issue where the BJP can claim to have settled issues like Jammu and Kashmir. In fact, the fact that we are not having assembly elections there is an indictment.
No, the poster you are referring to, Rajdeep, that was not an election rally. Election have been announced only this evening at 5 o'clock. You know, so please.
Are you justifying the poster? Are you justifying a political party using Wing Commander Abhinandan on their poster? Are you justifying it?
No.
Are you saying it's the right thing to do?
No. Allow me to speak. Allow me to speak. Allow me to, you see, if some local people have done these things, you have to ask them. People have their own way of looking at things because these are local rallies. And if you are invited or the other leaders are invited, you know, they don't control the stage they have, or the local people. If they have the sentiment, and since the code of conduct has come into place only now, you see, now if anything is done, you have the right to question. But if local people, they are organizing the leaders, they put the pictures of, you know, the people they think are brave hearts, martyrs. I mean, how can you stop it?
You cannot seek votes over our brave hearts, surely,
Mr. Taneja. Allow me to get back to the points raised by Mr. Salman. You see, the point is... No.
They're putting them on saris now. BJP is putting pictures of soldiers on saris. Shame on BJP. Shame on BJP, and you're going to be distributing those saris.
Mr. Soos, Narendra Taneja did not disturb you. Let him speak now.
So, am I allowed to talk, or I will also shout, Rajdeep? If you want to have uncivilized debate, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
No, go ahead.
If Salman Soos has grown uncivilized after working in World Bank, if that is what he has become, I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to have a street-like debate with you, Salman Soos, if that's you want.
Go ahead.
Now, I thought what you are uncivilized is what the BJP is doing to this country.
Narendra Taneja,
what BJP is doing to this
Salman Soos, please let Narendra Taneja speak. Narendra Taneja, go ahead.
Allow me to debate.
Yes.
National security. Okay. Yeah. You see, the point is Mr. Salman has been talking, Mr. Salman Soos talking Kashmir. He is a dynasty himself. He is one of the, you see in Kashmir what has happened. Because 100 families, they are responsible, including his family, for destroying Kashmir. They are the one who are guilty. We don't know that. Now let me make my point. This is not personal. This is history. 100 families, including your family. You are responsible.
Why don't you say something about my family?
Now, national security. National security. If you want to have national security as a point, now don't get lectured.
Do not
I speak the truth. I speak the truth.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Have heart to listen to me. Have heart to listen. Don't intervene. Don't intervene. You are responsible. Your family is responsible. 100 families responsible for making the best of
Kashmir. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You people are responsible.
You must be punished.
People like you must be punished by the people of Kashmir.
There are no elections in JNK. You people should be ashamed.
The two of you are on the wrong channel. If you are going to carry on like this.
You are blaming BJP. You are never responsible. People like you are responsible. Now,
you should go to Republic Television. That is where we listen to you people. Go to Republican Times now. This is not the channel.
Salman Soos, let him respond. Okay, I'm giving you 30 seconds uninterrupted. 30 seconds uninterrupted, Narendra Taneja. You tell us, is national security the key issue of this election? 30 seconds uninterrupted.
Thank you very much, Rajdeep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Rajdeep, what should be the issue? That's decided by the people, not by any political party. People of India have seen what, for instance, BJP can do when it comes to national security. They have seen our work. They have seen Balakot. They have seen what happened after 26/11 when the armed forces went to the then Prime Minister. Prime Minister raised his hand. Sorry, I can't do anything. And after Pulwama, armed forces came to us and the Prime Minister said, go ahead, knock them out. That's what BJP can do. People are proud of it. 1.3 billion Indians are proud.
Okay.
1.3 billion Indians, they can see if there is one leadership, one
very
person
quickly now, Salman Soos respond.
That's Narendra
Your
Modi.
30 seconds are up, Narendra Taneja. Let Salman Soos respond. He is saying that the weak leadership of the Congress is contrasted, he says, with the muscular leadership of Mr. Modi.
I understand. I understand. I just want to tell Mr. Taneja that when he makes it personal and talks about dynasty, he should look at the BJP and what BJP leaders and their children are there too. He should not point fingers at people. So that's one. Number two, It is under this Prime Minister's watch that the Inter-Services Intelligence of Pakistan was brought to India to inspect an army base. It is under this Prime Minister that 2,500 CRPF personnel were in a line, in a convoy on the national highway, and they were attacked by a suicide bomber. Their intelligence failure, who's going to answer for that? Is that going to be Mr. Tereja or some dinners from the BJP? They should be ashamed. They failed. They cannot be rewarded for failure. The Pulwama was a massive intelligence failure. Where is Ajit Doval? Where is the National Security Advisor? Where is that National Security Advisor who handed Masood Azhar to the Pakistanis? The same Masood Azhar whose man blew up so many CRPF people. They should be ashamed. They're failures.
Okay, we've heard both sides.
The people of this country are going to throw them out because they've led them on the garden path, and then they've damaged their hopes and aspirations.
Okay, we've heard both sides. Let's move on. Is national security therefore the key issue of this election? We've got lots of voices and I want to hear them one by one so that we get a sense of everywhere everyone stands. Kalikesh Singhdeo, you come from a state of Odisha, which interestingly is going in as many as 4 phases for the first time this time, apart from your assembly polls as well. Your sense, Kalikesh Singhdeo, is this election about national security as is being made out in television studios, or is it going to be about local issues? In Odisha, will it be about how has Naveen Patnaik fared as the chief minister, or do you believe that this election is being nationalized around the personality of Narendra Modi?
Well, the BJP is trying to nationalize it around the personality of Narendra Modi, and that's why they believe that the national security of the Pulwama incident is going to be a major issue. It's also the only shot in the arm that they've got post the 3 disastrous losses in the state elections of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. So the BJP is very uppity about it. I don't think that's going to be the central issue. I think the fact that we've just not had any job creation for the last 5 years, the fact that we've had a huge agrarian crisis, and that many industries and farmers have been brought down to their knees, I think that's a real major sore point. And I think the election will be what it's always about, roti kapda makan. The young aspirational voters, some of them might get swayed by this entire bravado of a strong government versus a weak government. But I think in the state of Orissa, which is not on the borders to Pakistan, I think the issue is very much basic and is very much about the roti kapda makan, as I've said before. What is interesting to sort of point out, Rajdeep, here is that the 4 phases of elections in Odisha, this has never happened before. And the only reason I can think of is that these have been progressed in such a way because the BJP, which has very limited organization and resources in Orissa, is trying to shift its organization from one phase to the other phase.
No, 1 minute, you're making a very serious charge, Kalikesh Singhdeo. Kalikesh Singhdeo, are you suggesting that No, 1 minute. Are you suggesting, Kalikesh Singhdeo, that with full responsibility that the Election Commission has designed this schedule in states like Odisha to suit the BJP? Is that what is that the charge you're making? Because it's a very serious charge if that's what you're saying.
I'm only asking, Rajdeep, as to why in the states of Odisha, West Bengal, Karnataka, and some other states that they've sort of, which don't have much of a problem with law and order, which don't have any real policing issues, why would these elections be progressed for 4 and 5 and 7 and 8 phases? Whereas in a state like Telangana, which has some element of Naxalism, the election is in 1 phase altogether. Now, I don't see any reason why this is the case.
Okay. You know, Bengal is an exception. Bengal has a history of political violence in recent times, and even last time was 5 phases. But you can certainly argue about why Karnataka has 2 phases, why is Odisha 4 phase, why is Maharashtra 4 phase. These are legitimate questions that could be asked. But Juhi Singh, let's stick to what I've made the focus today. As we kick off this election, is this election about local issues, or is this election going to be about who is the best person to lead the country? Is it about an individual, or is it about roti, kapda or makan, dare I add, bijli, swasth and shiksha? Is it about local issues?
Rajdeep, you fall into the trap which the Prime Minister has set. Why is there a dichotomy between local and regional issues and national security? Elections are about...
No, I have not fallen into a trap. Parties like yours seem to be falling into the trap. The opposition is not offering a narrative. What is the opposition's counter narrative to the Prime Minister's narrative? I want to know what is the opposition narrative.
The Prime Minister has only one narrative. No, the Prime Minister has one narrative, that he dips into history, he picks up symbols and he then twists them to his advantages, which have nothing to do with facts. So that's an agenda which the opposition is not going to follow. We are going to talk about issues. We are going to talk about his various policies, which all the spokespersons talk about, Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, and the 15 lakh promise, which he later on said was just a idiom. It didn't really mean anything, he just referred to it. And also the fact doubling farmers' income. What about the employment rate? What about what you've done to the economy of India, irrespective of the fact that you can, act very much about the fact that we are among the big five, but there is no employment in UP. Namami Ganga, a name you have changed of the Congress policies. First you say Manrega is wrong, then you say it's acceptable, and also you change the parameters. You say that we're building highways, but you change the definition. You say we've electrified villages, but you revised down your targets. You say we've given homes to so many people, under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, but just one kiss has been given. Suddenly we get 2,000 rupees not even given to the farmers.
I'm going to stop you for a moment. I'm going to stop you for a moment. I think we get the sense of what you're trying to say. You're claiming that there are issues on the ground which are being ignored in this sort of ratcheted up rhetoric post Pulwama and Balakot. Listen in to the Prime Minister this morning, and then we'll come to my other panelists. Listen in.
हमने क्रेडिट लेने की कोई कोशिश नहीं की. सबसे पहले 5 बजे ट्वीट करके रोने का काम पाकिस्तान ने शुरू किया था. अब मुझे बताइए, क्या पाकिस्तान मूर्ख है क्या, जो ये कहेगा कि मुझे मारा, मुझे मारा, मुझे मारा? वो मूर्ख है क्या? ये हमारे लोग पूछ रहे, अरे मारा है तो सबूत दो, मारा है तो सबूत दो. विरोधी दल कान खोल के सुन रहा, मेरा सबूत ये 130 करोड़ हिंदुस्तान वासियों का विश्वास है, वही मेरा सबसे बड़ा सबूत है. मेहरबानी करके पाकिस्तान को खुश करने वाले खेल बंद करो.
That's the Prime Minister on the election trail in a sense. Ajit Jha, has the Prime Minister successfully changed the narrative? Is this a conscious attempt bringing in Pakistan post Pulwama, post Balakot? Let's talk about national security. Let's talk about my muscular nationalism. Identify yourself completely with the armed forces.
Look, Rajdeep, a popular agenda like, for example, jobs and rural distress gives the incumbent an anti-incumbency, whereas Pulwama ends up providing the incumbent incumbency advantage. And the Prime Minister, being a 24/7 election, animal as we call him, or a cephalogist, what he has done is he has turned around the Pulwama into an opportunity for the BJP, thereby defining the national agenda. And I think at this moment, I just came back from UP. I was in UP last week, and I saw that it has made a certain amount of difference both in the urban areas and in the rural areas. And of course, what happens everywhere in the world, national security provides the incumbent a certain bounce. Now it is for the opposition to redefine the agenda in such a way that the agenda becomes their advantage and not the advantage of the BJP. At this moment, it seems that the opposition is on the back foot, whereas the BJP is on the front foot. But then we have 1 month left for the elections to begin, and the game is open. But at this moment, if you ask me, yes, BJP has a certain advantage in the election, both in terms of agenda, it has in terms of organization, and in terms of resources, and finally in terms of leadership. Because the Prime Minister is the most charismatic and the most popular candidate in the country today. So in all four, the BJP has an advantage right now.
Right now is the operative word, Shankar Iyer, because we've still got 32 days to the first phase of polling, and then we've got another 45 days, a pretty extensive, long campaign as well. Do you believe that issues of the economy of jobs of agrarian distress will return to the top of the agenda, or do you believe that it is possible to create a wave election around an emotional issue like muscular nationalism?
Well, Rajdeep, every election is fought on different levels. I think it would be a mistake to confuse the elections that are being fought in the TV studios, on WhatsApp groups and on the social media, and the election that is fought on the ground. Most people vote on the basis of experiential issues, what they experience and what their grief or glee or happiness is about. It is true that after the 3 state elections, the Congress got a little breathing room and could issue its talking points. Pulwama and Balakot has allowed Prime Minister Modi to lay a 12 sort of Dolby track on which he can once again mount a campaign and drown any other sound or any other voice that is coming across. So, and mind you, the BJP's election machinery is stereophonic, surround sound, everything put together. So they will harp on whatever they can harp on to drown the other voices. The point that the opposition has to understand is that they have not been able to pull up anything to change the narrative. And for the BJP, the big risk is that this could lead to complacency. And the one factor they should study is how many people, how many of the BJP MPs got elected in 1998, got re-elected in 1999 after the Kargil war.
You know, let me therefore take what you are saying to Veera Raghav, because very interestingly, the way the election schedule or the calendar has been drawn, Veera Raghav, is South India votes first, and then we come really into the BJP bastions in Central and North India in the second half of the campaign. Will South India set the tone where perhaps Pulwama and Balakot and indeed the BJP's cadres do not have the same ability to create this stereophonic sound around the Prime Minister or one issue? Do you see South India voting very differently to what's been happening in the North?
Fortunately, the language of Hindu nationalism is lost in translation when it comes to South India. And I think it's extremely fortunate. But I think South India itself is going to vote very, very differently in terms of states, Rajdeep. Which is on an issue in Karnataka, it's going to be an ideological battle in Tamil Nadu, the way the DMK has portrayed it. And I think that's possibly a lesson for the opposition to learn, that you need to have a counter narrative which is powerful, which is the way the DMK has portrayed it as a threat to Dravidian ideology to allow the BJP to move forward. And hence questioning the alliance with the AIDMK. In Andhra Pradesh, I think it will be a battle between Jagan Mohan Reddy. So I think Jagan Mohan Reddy and Chandrababu Naidu. So if you take South India, I think the impact of this may be part of the debate or the discourse, but the impact of it in terms of electoral results will be minimal. It might have an impact in urban centers like, let us say, Bangalore, or might galvanize the BJP in areas like an Uttar Kannada or a Dakshin Kannada in Karnataka, where they already have a base, but it's not something alone, something on which the BJP can pull itself through or have the kind of impact that it would have in a Congress versus BJP state. I think this whole narrative is confined to Congress versus BJP state and not in states where the BJP is facing a strong regional party as an opponent.
Which will, after the break, bring me to the other critical question. As we head in now well and truly into this battle of 2019, is this a battle of 543 constituencies spread across the 29 states and the other union territories of the country, or is it a battle with a single narrative? Are we in a wave election, or are we heading for a fragmented election? These are some of the questions I want to raise. India elects. The battle for India has been joined today. India elects on a day when the election bugle for 2019's general elections has been sounded. Now the BJP is making it very clear. They put all their eggs in Narendra Modi's basket. Modi hai to mumkin hai. Listening to Yogi Adityanath.
उत्तर प्रदेश 2014 से बेहतर प्रदर्शन करेगा। 74 प्लस के लक्ष्य के साथ हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। ये चुनाव विकास बनाम विनाश का, सुशासन बनाम कुशासन का, राष्ट्रवाद बनाम आतंकवाद की ओर जा रहा है। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में विकास, सुशासन और राष्ट्रवाद की सुरक्षा की जो सुदृढ़ नींव भारत के अंदर रखी है, यह देश उस दिशा में जा रहा है। किसी गठबंधन, किसी ठगबंधन या किसी महामिलावट के चक्कर में देश की जनता अब नहीं पड़ने वाली।
So the BJP has set the agenda, and Salman shows the Congress and the opposition is going to have to tell us what is your narrative. They say this is Majboot Sarkar versus Mahamilawat. They say this is Rashtravad versus appeasement politics. They say this is Narendra Modi versus who? Is Rahul Gandhi and the Congress going to tell us what you stand for? Forget about Modi and anti-Modism. What do you stand for?
You know, what we do stand for is, in some ways, this government failed to deliver so many things. What we need to do is we need to work on what India's future looks like. What young people, what their future is going to be about. Will they have the kinds of jobs that they deserve, or will we go for another 5 years of jumlebazi? Will farmers finally have something where they can say, you know, we have a livelihood that actually makes sense for us? We have a future in this industry, that we have a dignified life. They don't, you know, we can say Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan for all we want, but right now nobody can argue that there is Jai Kisan.
And what will the Congress say when Narendra Modi says Modi versus who? What will the Congress say when Narendra Modi turns around and says Modi versus who?
Well, you know, the Modi versus people of India, because people of India are sick and tired of Modi and Modi, Modi, Modi and all this jumlebazi on all these slogans. I don't think people care anymore about how much you're going to say, I'm 56 inches, I'm going to show Lal Aankh, I'm going to do all these things. This drama-bazi is not what's going to get India moving. India is stuck. We're stuck. Our economy is stuck. Our investments are stuck. Our agricultural sector is stuck. Our young people are stuck. There's hopelessness setting in. Or, you know, you can say, oh, this guy is bold. What bold? Demonetization? Is that bold or is that idiotic? I'm sorry. That was a punitive strike. You know, they talked about, they said, remember he said something to the effect that I've had a surgical strike on black money? No, it was a carpet bombing of the Indian economy. Carpet bombing. That's what they did. GST. One of the most complex indirect taxes in the country. There's tax
you made your point again, Mr.
What have they done for the middle class? We only, you know, we talk about farmers, we talk about workers. What about the middle class? They're nothing. They're a failed government.
Let me take that same question to you, Kalike Singhdeo.
You can laugh, but you will not be laughing on May 23rd.
Let me take that to you, Kalike Singhdeo, because many believe that the regional parties could play a major role in this election. I want to try and understand, therefore, what is your narrative? When the Modi government makes it very clear that they believe that, do you want a stable 5-year government or a coalition government of parties who have internal contradictions? How do you respond as someone who belongs to a party which wants to build a non-BJP, non-Congress front?
Look, we are very clear, Rajdeep, that the current NDA government has not been very kind to Orissa. It's acted against the interest of Orissa on many fronts, especially that when it came to stopping the dams in Polavaram and in Mahanadi with the government of Chhattisgarh, but they clearly favored action against the state of Orissa. So I think the people of Orissa are completely aware that the only party which stands up for Orissa is the Biju Janata Dal. And we've done a lot of good work, especially in the agrarian sector, with the farmers, with the women, with the youth. There are a lot of unfulfilled promises of the Modi government, that of employment, that of development in rural areas, and this is completely understood by the people of Orissa, and I would think largely across the country also. While they can try and polarize on the basis of national security or the Pulwama incident, I think in states like Orissa and in southern India, this will have very limited impact. I think the people of Orissa are well aware that the Biju Janata Dal has supported both the NDA and UPA when positive policy outcomes were on the table, and have rejected or opposed the governments in the center when it was against the interests of the state or interests of the country. So I think we want a government which is reflective of the interest of Orissa and who works in national interest and not just for themselves and not for political purposes only.
Therefore, Narendra Taneja, listening to these two opposition voices, Congress and BJP, is one of the fears somewhere lurking in the BJP that maybe complacency has set in, that there is this Modi shining which is being created, particularly post Balakot, and much like India shining, you may take your eye off what is happening on the ground in states like Odisha, dare I say other states with strong regional players. Do you fear these regional players even more than you fear the Congress in 2019?
No. I just listened to Mr. Salman Soos very interestingly. You know, you asked him question and he was just struggling. He's struggling for words because they have no, counter narrative. Mr. Rahul Gandhi never talks about jobs. Show me one clip. He doesn't. He only talks Rafale. That's the counter narrative. You see, the point is that look at the people of India's perception and the, when it comes to national security, economy. Ask the aam aadmi, ask about महंगाई, कीमत of आलू की, दाल की, टमाटर की. Are people complaining? No, inflation under control. महंगाई सब कुछ सस्ता है. People know it. Now, corruption, ask the people. Are there any scam? Have your channel? Let me complete.
No.
You see, the point is
your screen has frozen, sir.
People care about.
Sir, your screen has frozen.
Your screen has frozen.
Your screen has frozen. That's why we have to move on, not for any other reason. But I'm getting a sense of the battle lines that are being drawn. Juhi Singh, very quickly, in Uttar Pradesh, is this simply about arithmetic, adding the votes of Mayawati and Akhilesh? Because there is a huge question mark over the chemistry of the alliance on the ground. Whether the alliance has the necessary chemistry on the ground is still a question mark.
It's not a question mark, Rajdeep. We have great chemistry and we have great arithmetic. You just heard Yogi ji hyperventilating. He lost his own seat because of this chemistry and this arithmetic. And we are an emotional country, but we are also a pragmatic and a very intelligent country. So ultimately, we all have to sell our grains at lower than MSP. We all have to go back home. We have no employment. False promises have been made to UP, to every section of the population. So the Prime Minister has to answer that. Plus, yes, the opposition will come up with a counter narrative, a plan at least, a roadmap as to how we are going to achieve what the Prime Minister has not. So, I mean, frankly, who's really listening to the Prime Minister? I mean, his election speeches are fine and people might collect in his rallies, but we're also looking for good governance, participation.
You know, that's not really what the numbers, ma'am, just a minute. The numbers don't show that. Our numbers in successive polls have shown a relatively high degree of popularity for Narendra Modi, the individual. May not always be for the BJP, but for the individual. I just wonder, therefore, Ajit Jha, is this election going to be fought around the personality of Mr. Modi? And therefore, is this the Modi shining moment for the BJP? Should they be wary at all of these alliances that are now being quietly forged on the ground? The Congress in Jharkhand has forged a pretty decent alliance. The SP, BSP in UP, NCP, Congress in Maharashtra, DMK-led alliance in Tamil Nadu. Should the BJP be any worried at all that alliance arithmetic could trump the chemistry of Mr. Modi?
Rajdeep, if the regional alliances being worked out in each state, let's say in UP or in West Bengal or in other states that we are talking about, if they could come together on an alternative agenda which will challenge the main narrative said by the BJP, then I think there is, the election is totally open, and then we have a lot of hope for the opposition as well. But the problem is that most of these local alliances are simply defensive alliances working on an anti-Modi pitch rather than an alternative agenda. If jobs and rural distress is so important for the opposition, why don't all of them come together and come into a national alliance like in 1977 when you had democracy versus dictatorship? Or for example in 2014 when you had corruption policy paralysis versus hope. Why don't they come together? The fact that they don't shows that what they are working hard, but what they need is an alternative narrative, an alternative agenda to fight the BJP's blitzkrieg campaign on this issue of national security, which has given Mr. Modi a certain advantage.
I take your point, and that, Shankar Iyer, comes to the question then.
Allow me to complete my point.
Yeah, I'll come back to you, sir. Shankar Iyer, therefore the question that the opposition now faces is, do they really have it in them to actually, is this election for them simply about expanding their own space or challenging Narendra Modi? Do you believe that they really have it in them to challenge Mr. Modi, or are they simply fighting for their own turf battles? A Mamta in Bengal, a Naveen Patnaik in Odisha, a Mayawati and Akhilesh in Uttar Pradesh. This is about even an Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi. It's about their own turf battles.
Well, Rajdeep, two things are very clear. One, Narendra Modi is contesting in 543 constituencies. The BJP may or may not contest 543 constituencies, but Narendra Modi is contesting in 543 constituencies. As for the regional parties and the opposition, some of them are riding on hope, some of them have real strength. The question that needs to be, which is central to this election, is there are issues with the way the government has managed the economy, investments in GST, demonetization, the NPAs, joblessness, agrarian crisis, all of it. There is truth and there is exaggeration. There is data and then there is no data. The question that people will answer in this election is, are they going to vote on anger? Because there is no narrative here yet which says, or where is the confidence that needs to come out.
But where is that anger?
The question that people will be asking, particularly those hit by these various issues. No,
where is the anger?
Anger was seen in the last three state elections, Rajdeep.
But the BJP, even in those state elections,
the anger was seen in the last three elections.
No, hold on.
We don't know the anger.
No, even in those three state elections, the BJP's vote did not come down substantially. Now, in previous elections, the incumbent has been defeated usually by anger or by arithmetic. 2004 was an example of arithmetic, where in states like Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu, the wrong alliances cost Mr. Vajpayee. Or there has been anger like we saw in 2014, or you can go back to 1977. I just wonder where the anger is. Veera Raghav, is there any anger out there? Let's be very clear. Even in states like Karnataka, Mr. Modi's popularity is pretty high.
Rajdeep,
yeah, very quickly, Shankar.
Rajdeep, I need to make a point.
I think one needs to...
the point that I'm making is, unless the opposition is able to prove that they will do better, I think Mr. Modi is the distance between BJP's defeat and BJP's victory is guarded by Mr. Modi and his campaign style and his energy.
Okay.
The issues are all alive out there. There is no denying any of these issues. There is no denying the anger. Whether it results in vote change or a seat change depends on the hope factor. So if people are still invested in Mr. Modi, even if they have gone short on BJP, Mr. Modi will run ahead.
Very quickly, Veera Raghav, where is the anger? In states of the south, barring Tamil Nadu, there hasn't been visible anger on the ground to suggest that there will be a wave against the BJP.
I think you're right that there is no, to that palpable anger. But then people also take the images and the claim with a larger dose of salt when it comes to South India. You see, there might not be, you cannot see Mr. Modi or assess this in a normal anti-incumbency platform. I think our paradigm needs to shift further. It is on whether that personality has the power to pull through this election. When I say that there is no anger, there is also the ability to pull through this election. The one that he had in 2014 may have reduced further when it comes specifically to southern states, even like Karnataka, where the BJP has a strong presence. Yes, he has a strong personality which is possibly stronger than the Congress. But does he have the strength of that personality, pull it through like he did in 2014? That's really the question.
Of course, this time, then he was the challenger, now he's the incumbent. Now, very quickly, Narendra Taneja, therefore, is the BJP, while you claim you're going to get more than 300 seats. Let's be more realistic. Is what the BJP is looking for around 200 to 250 so that you form a government with new allies? Isn't that your best case scenario? Let's be very honest now.
No. Rajdeep, let me be very honest with you. We are looking at 300 seats and 50% vote share. Be very honest with you. That's what we have been working on, constituency by constituency the last couple of years.
300
point
seats.
is, look at, for instance, what people are concerned about. People are concerned about daily things. Inflation, Mehrauli. Because based on the work we have done. The way it's based on the work we have done, Rajdeep. Simply going cold numbers, cold facts, nothing else. Mehrauli, look at, people are happy, Mehrauli nahi hai, inflation nahi hai. People are happy, corruption, this monster called corruption, they don't have to encounter, they don't have to deal with, there's no corruption. Now, national security, they have seen, look, Mr. Narendra Modi, decisive, powerful leader, he can deliver on that. So on all these points, in fact, people are satisfied. And that's why, when look at the Congress, only recently Congress made a big tamasha. In UP, they said Brahmastra aa gaya. When they launched Priyanka Gandhi, Brahmastra is going to demolish everything, all party, BJP khatam, all khatam, SP khatam, BSP. Where is that Brahmastra?
Okay, let me therefore tell Narendra Taneja.
Now look at
I've heard
Rahul
from you.
Gandhi
I've run out of
what's
time.
happening? All political parties, including Aam Aadmi Party, they are all going to Sonia ji.
Okay, let me therefore ask you, Salman.
So
You've made your point, Narendra Taneja. You've made your point, sir. Sir, you've made your point. You've made your point. Salman Soz, therefore, let me ask you in conclusion. Is this election for you and your party about Congress maximization or BJP minimization? Is this election for you about promoting Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, or is it about stopping Narendra Modi at all costs? I'm not clear what is this election for the Congress. Is this an election where you're ready to piggyback on the regional parties to try and stop Mr. Modi? What is this election for the Congress? And is the final choice going to be whether Indians feel better off today than they were 5 years ago?
Well, in all elections, in fairness, you do want to ask the question, are you better off today than you were 5 years back? I think that's a general construct. But as far as the Congress party is concerned, the Congress party is firm in its belief that we need to be stronger if we have to beat the Prime Minister Modi and the BJP. There's no question about that, not in my mind, not in the mind of any of our party leaders. If we are not strong, how can the rest of the opposition be strong enough to beat Prime Minister Modi? We have to be the core of the opposition onslaught against the Prime Minister Modi. All this business of Congress party is not forming alliances and all that stuff. I mean, think about it, Rajiv. Just 1 minute, 30 more seconds. Look at Karnataka, look at Kerala, look at Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Bihar. I mean, we have alliances in so many states, and these are Andhra Pradesh. They're critical states where there are lots of seats.
You don't have an alliance in
direct competition with the BJP and other critical states. Now, one state that everybody talks about is UP. We have an alliance in Andhra. Telangana, we don't have an alliance. So I'm just saying that UP, everybody talks about UP, everybody talks about Delhi. Delhi has only 7 states. Everything has not been written about these states yet. The Congress parties are the firm belief that we want to beat Prime Minister Modi, that for that we need to be stronger. At the same time, we're fighting more for the country than for the Congress party, because under this Prime Minister, the country is divided, the country is horribly divided.
Now, Mr. Soz, you're going back into rhetoric.
And we need to get back, and the Congress party has to get back its numbers.
Okay. Well, the Congress party was 44 last time.
Empty rhetoric.
What we feel is the right thing to do.
Empty rhetoric.
Okay. There'll be lots of rhetoric on both sides over the next 2 months.
We'll see, Mr. 300.
Okay. There's lots of rhetoric. Someone says we are going to get 300
Mr. 50%.
plus. Someone says we are going to be the magnet for change. Either way, India is heading for an election which, dare I say, has low expectations because of the quality at times of the political discourse. So if that can be lifted in the weeks ahead, and if we can have alternative narratives and visions for the future, maybe we are heading for a more exciting election. Either way, it's election time, and there is no greater festival of democracy. Thank you all very much for joining us. 90 crore voters across the country, 8.4 lakh first-time voters are ready to cast their vote. This is the greatest country in the world when it comes to elections. India is ready. India Today is ready. India elects on India Today. जो जीता वो सिकंदर. देखे जरा किसमें कितना है दम. Bye for now.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you will love to.